大家好 welcome back to my channel, guys. 好，那今天的话题是非常重要。如果你想去中我的话，你必须要听我说的话。If you're planning on coming to China now, in the future, these are things that you really have to know before you get here. Because China is not just like any other country. It has very specific quirks that makes it China that you just have to know about before you come here to prepare. So, without further ado, let's get started. The first thing you have to do before coming to China, and this might be like common sense, but make sure that you don't need a visa, because I know that there's lots of countries where you need a visa to get into China, but that's pretty basic. And also just make sure you have enough time to apply for the visa before you come. One of my friends from the US is coming to visit me, and she had a few problems, like a few delays with her visa. Most of the time it goes really fast with the Chinese embassy. Like, I applied for my visa in France. Of course it was like a long-term study visa, but I think they got it to me within like 2 weeks of me doing the application. But make sure you're legally able to come to China. Alright, the second thing is, as you guys may know, you need to have a VPN in China. Every single app that we use in the West, I'm talking like, yeah, Instagram, Facebook, things like that, but even like Google search, like if you open Google Chrome in China without a VPN, you're not gonna get very far. Everything you use, you have to have a VPN for it. The one exception is actually Snapchat. I'm not sure why, but Snapchat works without a VPN. Either way, when I first came to China, I came with NordVPN. It did not work, so I had to change, and now since then I've been using Let's Go VPN. It works super well. It's not the cheapest option, that's for sure, but what's good about Let's Go is you can choose like different periods of time for like the subscription. So you can do 6 months, you can do a year, but at the same time you could also do like 2 weeks or a month depending on how long you're visiting. So you don't have to invest in like a year-long subscription to the VPN if you're only coming for like 3 weeks, which is nice. I haven't had a single problem with Let's Go. You can connect 2 devices with 1 account, so I have my computer and my phone, and it works fine. Some other friends in the dorm, I believe, use Astral VPN, but I'm not 100% sure if it works as well as Let's Go. Either way, my base recommendation is Let's Go. It's the best one in my opinion. The second thing you need to do is download 2 very important apps. App number 1 is WeChat or Weixin. WeChat is kind of, honestly, there is no equivalent to either of these apps in the West. There are these things that they call super apps in China, and basically you use these 2 apps for everything. First one is Weixin, WeChat. Second one is Zhifubao, which is Alipay. You basically do everything on these 2 apps. Even in my classes for school, our class communication channel was on WeChat. Like, we had a group chat with the teacher and all of the students. Like, if I have a problem and I need to text like my administrator, like I use WeChat to do it. You use WeChat like for everything, and not just sending messages, also for paying. I'll get into that later. For ordering food at restaurants, for getting concert tickets or things like that. Like, you use it for everything. Zhifubao is the same idea. There's no messaging involved. It's just like pay, like for example, delivery. You can do food delivery on Alipay. You can do, like, I refill my electricity bill on Alipay. You can do anything on these apps, and it's honestly really useful. One thing I will say is that these apps are like huge apps, obviously, like they're enormous. And my phone, for example, is first of all really old. Second of all, is almost out of storage. So sometimes they can run really slowly, or it takes 30 seconds to scan a QR code. But yeah, you have to have these 2 apps. The third thing kind of ties in with what I was just talking about, which is how you pay for things in China. Trust me, you're going to be paying for things exclusively with WeChat and Alipay. So basically, you put your card into the app and you just scan the QR code and you pay. Normally, they don't charge an international fee or anything. Sometimes they do. I think if you pay above a certain amount of money for something, or depending on what you're paying for, sometimes they'll charge like a little international fee, but I think it's normally like no more than 3%, so it's not that bad. But forget about using a card. It's not gonna happen. Maybe in like Shanghai and Beijing you can get away with it, but it's not gonna happen anywhere else. And cash normally is fine. You can use cash, but like, why would you want to use cash?
Me personally, I have such big beef with using cash. It's so frustrating. You have to like get it out and count it, and then you get coins, and like, when are you gonna use the coins? Anyway.
That's just me going on a rant. Get used to QR codes for paying for everything. WeChat and Alipay. Most of the time they accept both anywhere, and you can kind of just pick which one to use. I normally use WeChat, but like Adele, for example, normally uses Alipay, so either way, most of the time you're gonna want to get both. Like, don't just get WeChat and call it good. I would get WeChat and Alipay, just in case. One more thing I would also add is I would really recommend getting a Chinese SIM card, even if it's like an eSIM, because like I've been saying, basically your entire life relies on Weixin and Zhifubao, WeChat and Alipay, which means if you for some reason can't connect to the Wi-Fi or your like international SIM card isn't working and you don't have data, you can't pay for anything. And that's like a very scary situation to be in. So I would highly recommend getting a Chinese SIM card so that you are connected everywhere, no matter what happens, no matter what. Also, I think a lot of, like, for example, when you deliver food, they ask for a phone number, and it's just like way more convenient if you have a Chinese one. Make sure you're booking your hotels with trip.com or like booking.com, websites like that. I started off booking my hotels in China on WeChat because they're a lot cheaper, but there's two problems with that. The first one is that they can be a fraud and they don't exist and you get scammed. The second problem is that it's a hotel that doesn't accept foreigners, because in China, when you check into a hotel, there's this whole process that has to be done where they take your passport and they register you with the local police station, basically so the government knows where you're staying and what you're doing. And some hotels just don't, like, they're just not able to do that. When Adele and I went to Hangzhou, we booked a hotel and we found out that we actually couldn't stay there because they didn't accept foreigners. So I would just recommend booking hotels with like trip.com or booking.com or like Western booking sites, because it just simplifies a lot of things and it's cheap anyway. So one last thing to add, if you're staying in China for an extended period of time, like, you know, a month to 2 months, study abroad, exchange type vibes like what I'm doing, I would highly recommend investing in an electric scooter. The metros, while they are very good, can sometimes be very far apart. Like the closest metro station to our dorm is like 17 minutes walking, which is fine, but like it can be a bit annoying. DDs, like taxis, are also very cheap, but like at a certain point, if you're really going around and seeing things, scooters are really convenient. Of course, be careful, wear a helmet, like research all the traffic laws and everything, but that's one of my bigger regrets in coming to China, is that I didn't get a scooter. And now I'm 5 months in, it feels a bit too late. Lots of my friends got scooters and it's really convenient, it's very fast. You don't need like a driver's license or anything as far as I know. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you don't need a driver's license. That's another thing that really simplifies your life if you're staying long term. Alright, I guess that's about it, guys. That's all of my recommendations of things to do before coming to China. 当然我非常推荐你们来中国，因为中国真的中国的生活非常非常好，真的。Like there's so many fun things to do here. There's so much good food to eat. There's so many awesome people. Like it's really an incredible country to visit or to live in. So thanks for watching. 下次见，拜拜。